Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 on our agenda this evening. In fact, well, 1 by itself, I move for the removal of item number 1 because item number 1 is no longer necessary. And if this is approved, we'll move on to 1A. So there's a motion for the removal of item number 1, which is the appropriation, which is not necessary.
Why is it not necessary?
The money has already been appropriated. This Caruth, this right here. Is there a second for the removal of item number 1?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Yes.
Hold on.
Just 1. We're going to leave item number 1A and address that here in just a moment. Okay. All those in favor of the removal of item number 1 say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 1A, which is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement with Priority Lawn and Landscaping for the year 2020. And I'll move for the approval of that one. Okay, is there any discussion? I did have one question about that contract. It says that they will mow every week during the growing season. There's no specification at all as far as what we consider legally to be the growing season. Is that just under, Stephanie's not here, is that just? Okay. Okay. Any other discussion on item number 1A? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 and 2A. 2 is the appropriation, and number 3 is the resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement to install guardrails for 2 sections of the portion of Skyline Drive in the amount of $19,992.50. What's the will of the committee on item number 2 and 2A?
Motion.
Have we decided which ones we're going to use yet?
Before we discuss, is there a second for the approval of item 2 and 2A? Going once?
Second.
Going twice? Motion was made by Mr. Brown. Okay. Items 2 and 2A did not receive a second. Is there anything else on our agenda for this 5:30 meeting?
Mr. Chairman, just a note, I'd like to come back to this one and have a discussion.
Okay. So is your motion to table this to the normal finance meeting where we would have some time for discussion? Okay, and I'll second that. There's a motion and second to table items number 2 and 2A to the next regular scheduled finance meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Mayor, that was fast. We're adjourned.
Okay, adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes. Yes. Is Mr. Smith's not here, but we're going to get started. This time I call the council meeting to order for Thursday, March 19, 2020. Roll call. Ms. Skelton.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
It's roll call. Ms. Caruth. Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Tripp. Mr. Olson. Mr. Harrell.
Here.
Mr. Westcott.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Keller.
Here.
Mayor Harris.
Here.
And myself, and I'm sure Trey will be up in a minute.
All right, at this time, need a motion for approval of the minutes for February 20, 2020.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion, second.
Second.
Have a second, Mr. Harris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This time, your financial report is in the packet. We will not go over that. Ms. Johnson will not be presenting it tonight, but you may look at it and provide any questions to Ms. Johnson at another time. And we will, on the mayor's report, we will not be going over the presentation on the recreational marijuana discussion, nor will I be giving the verbal state of the city report. However, it is included in your package, and you can read that, and that we presented, and I am allowed to present that in writing to meet the commitments for 2020. Yes, ma'am. I'd like to remind everyone to make sure you speak into your mics and make sure that they're keyed up when you speak. We will not do a departmental report tonight, however, it is in your package. Committee reports, there's no committee reports for personnel. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the Finance Committee. Mr. Westcott.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 from last week is discussion regarding the city corporation bonds and possible refinancing these at a lower interest rate. And
Motion?
so right now, it's strictly just discussion.
There is a resolution in your package tonight if the council decides to act on the resolution.
Are you ready?
And Mr. Mallett's here, as well as I can get Mr. Fott on the phone if we have any questions.
Okay. What page was that on in our big packet?
Should be an insert.
Is that?
It's right here. Sorry about that.
Okay.
They decided I
There was a copy of the ordinance.
So in a nutshell, Mayor, I'll direct this question to you. If this resolution this evening is approved, do I understand it right that this is strictly an intent to finance and that we are in no way obligating ourselves or Citicorp to do anything?
That is correct. That is my understanding. Mr. Mallett, can you confirm? That's correct.
Okay. So there's a motion by Mr. Brown. Was that your motion to approve this resolution, Mr. Brown?
Motion to approve it.
Okay.
This all
Second.
depends upon the market.
Is there any discussion on item number 1?
Mr. Westcott, in my understanding that if we do pass this resolution for bonds to be issued, it would come back to us at a later time for approval?
That is my understanding,
Thank you.
correct?
There will be no refinance of the bonds until the council has approved it.
Thank you.
So this is just an intent.
Approve the resolution.
Okay. Okay. So, Mayor, we present item number 1 as a motion to adopt.
Okay, I understand I have a motion to adopt the resolution in item 1 associated with refinancing bonds. And that's presented in the form of a motion, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 and 2A is an appropriation from the Street Sales Tax Improvement Fund in the amount of $120,000 for the Brookside Drainage Improvements. Number 2A is the resolution to accept the bid. I believe Hard Rock got that, did they not?
Yes.
Okay. And we present that as a motion to adopt.
Okay, have a motion, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is an appropriation from the Capital Asset Building Fund in the amount of $4,315 to be used to replace the air conditioning unit at the Shiloh Park concessions. We had some questions last week about where that money was going to come from. Has that been changed here to the Capital Asset Building Fund? Okay. And we present that as a motion to adopt.
All right, I have a motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items number 4 and 4A. Number 4 is an appropriation from the reserve of the city general fund in the amount of $12,000 to be used to complete the survey of the old historic neighborhood. This is a grant pass-through at absolutely zero cost to the city. Number 4A is the resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to apply for and accept that grant. And we present that as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
From our meeting this evening, item number 1A was consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement with Priority Lawn and Landscaping for the Oakland Cemetery for the year 2020, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, I yield the floor back to you.
I understand we are complete with the Finance Committee agenda. This time, we'll move into the, I'm sorry.
Welcome.
Okay, at this time, we're going to look at, move into old business. I would request a motion by the council to table items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of old business and only consider items 6 and 6A this evening.
Motion?
I have a motion from Chris and a second from Ms. Carew. Discussion?
Yes. On item number 2, the third and final reading, that was not the least bit controversial, as I recall. I wondered why we would not address item number 2.
Item
Since-
2, while it is a third and final reading, there's nothing driving this particular ordinance at this time. But it's, if the council feels
Okay.
they want to take that on tonight, I have no objection.
Are the applicants not in the least bit hurry for that?
No,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
If there's not time frames involved in it, I'm fine with that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I have a motion to table items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of old business. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is a public hearing for the, let me get to there, is a public hearing for the vacation part of North Greenwich Avenue to the city of Russellville. This would vacate the east 10 feet of North Greenwich Avenue being west of and adjacent to Lot 7, Block 4 of the J.L. Sheen addition to the city of Russellville. Submitted by Matt McCoy. This time, I open a public hearing. Is there any comment? I have no one here to comment. We will now close the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. Item 6A, consideration of ordinance for the vacation part of North Greenwich Avenue to the city of Russellville. I have a motion by the council in relation to item 6A.
Motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Harold. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Olson. Any discussion?
Yes. Is there some kind of a rush on 6A?
To my knowledge, there is no rush. That he will need to get this ordinance passed before he gets his certification of occupancy. But at this point, there's no rush, to my understanding.
Okay, so this would just be the first reading of this ordinance?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? Any other discussion?
Oh, one more question. Will there be another opportunity for any kind of a public hearing,
No, sir.
realizing that, of course, there is no public in attendance?
And just, if this was also discussed in the planning commission, there was no issues in the planning
Okay.
commission from the public, nor was there at our agenda prep meeting. All right, item 6A, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, I guess we need to do the first reading, don't we?
Yeah.
So,
Motion to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the first of three readings, or the first reading by title only with a short explanation.
all right, I do have a motion to dispense with the rules, suspend the reading requirements, read by title only for the first of three readings. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance vacating abandoned part of North Greenwich Avenue, the city of Russellville, Polk County, Arkansas. This ordinance, if passed, would vacate the east 10 feet of North Greenwich Avenue that is adjacent to lot 7, block 4 of the jail Shin addition to the city of Russellville, Polk County, Arkansas.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. New business. This time, I would request the council consider tabling item 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6.
I so move.
I have a motion from Mr. Westcott and a second from Ms., was that a second, Ms. Crew?
He said 4, 5, and 6.
1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Harris. Any discussion?
Yes, I actually sent out an email and got no response as to why we were going to be tabling 1, 2, 3 special use permits and not the fourth.
Item, and I apologize, I didn't see your email, Justin, but the reason that we're not tabling item number 4 is Rick Taylor had his building burned, and he's ready to get construction as soon as possible to restore his facility, and so he needs that special use permit.
Well, seeing as items 1, 2, and 3 are also passed unanimously by the Planning Commission, are there people not waiting for their special use permits in 1, 2, and 3 as well?
Contact was made with those individuals. They had no objection to waiting.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, consideration of a resolution granting a special use permit for transfer station and other purposes, Rick Taylor Transfer Station. This was passed unanimously by the Planning Commission. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved from Mr. Westcott, second from Mr. Keller. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I do have a late agenda item I would like to present to the council at this time. I have a motion from Mr. Tripp to add to the
Second.
agenda. Second from Mr. Keller. Discussion. We will take 2/3 of majority to add this late agenda item. So this time I'd ask for a motion to approve.
Okay. Well, this is an ordinance, is it not?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah,
this-
I'm with
to
you.
add-
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Motion to approve the addition of this late agenda item.
Motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I do have an ordinance here to present to the council, and we would like to have, just in preface of the discussion, emergency clause on this ordinance, so I present it to the council for consideration.
One and one only reading for adoption tonight, title, short explanation only.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second, dispense with the rules, suspend the reading requirements, read by title only, short explanation, one time only. I'm sorry? I think it was Mr. Westcott. Did you second that?
I did.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance to address leave policies for the city employees of the city of Russellville, Arkansas amid a public health emergency declared by the governor of the state of Arkansas and for other ordinances. This ordinance, if passed, would recognize that the governor has passed a public health emergency based on the COVID-19 virus that's spreading across Arkansas as well as the rest of the U.S. and would put in place a quarantine method for anybody who is either tested or suspected of testing positive for the COVID-19 virus. And with the quarantine for 14 days or not returning to work for the city for 14 days, and would put in place temporary leave policies so that leave could be drawn in advance based on a certain time period.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Do I have a motion from the council?
Motion to
for approval?
adopt.
Motion from Mr. Tripp, Mr. Westcott, and a second from Mr. Tripp. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We do have a provision for the emergency clause at this time.
Motion to enact the emergency clause.
Second.
Motion for the emergency clause and a second.
Second.
Okay, I have motion and second. Discussion. Emergency clause requires 2/3. Is that correct? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I do have a question from
Second.
I got distracted, so I apologize.
Just curious to hear what city's doing as far as personnel during this time with their time and working from home. How's all that going?
Okay, just for the council briefing, we do have employees who can work from home. Those who can are eligible. Some have chosen not to. Some have chosen to work from home. We've made provision for those at-risk employees to stay away from the public. All city buildings are closed to the public at this time. They can contact the city via phone or through our website. So at this point, there's a lot of work that we can't do from home, and those individuals are still working within their various departments. We'll be looking forward to see if there's any, as this virus issue continues, see if we need to make any changes to that policy. All right, I have a motion second to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.